Today we are in a early JK. Got a lot of stuff on it, but it's pretty clean and it drives really nice. Just took it up to Utah for about a 1,000-mile drive. Guys, remember the days that you used to struggle with the V6 getting on the highway? Now you just get on the throttle a little, then you got to let off to merge into traffic. So this Jeep is really clean and it's got an LT1 with a 8-speed. It might be a 10-speed, I'm not sure. But in any event, I wanted to talk about engine availability because we're getting a lot of requests for older engines and engines that just aren't available anymore. And then there's new engines that are easily available and lower cost. So 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, when we started doing these swaps, the Gen 4 engines were relatively new and we jumped right on them. The favorite engines, of course, were the LS3 and the 6.2 truck engines. You have the LS3, the L99, which is basically the automatic version of the LS3, has VVT and AFM, where the LS3 doesn't. But the LS3 was designed for a manual transmission, so they kept it as simple as possible. Then we had the L90, well, we didn't have the L94 back then. We had the L92 and the L9H, which are both great engines, but I'm not going to get into details. I got many videos on them. The bottom line is those engines were in production, they were readily available, and right up to about 2 or 3 years ago, we were buying those engines, especially the L94s and the L99s and the LS3s, for really good prices. Maybe the truck engines weren't in current production at that time, but there was an ample supply of them in inventory. So that was the heyday of the LS engines. We also did a lot of 5.3s and 6.0s. The 5.3 engines you should be looking for are 2010 and newer LC9 and LMG. Yes, there's a bunch of early 5.3s, 7, 8, and 9. You got the LH6, you got the old LY5, even the early LC9. But most of those engines were mated to 4-speed transmissions. We don't want to use a 4-speed transmission. 4L60 wasn't a bad transmission, but the 6L80 is a better transmission, stronger, better gearing, and the wiring in the early 4-speeds is more difficult because you have to run an external T42 controller. So all the wires going between the engine and transmission were quite messy. So fast forward a decade, and the LS engines, as you can imagine, are getting long in the tooth. They're still very popular. The problem now is availability of the LS engines. The 5.3s have been out of production for quite some time. So when we do find them now, we're not finding the 10, 20, 30,000 mile engines for a good price. We've got to buy 40, 50, 60,000 mile engines and pay virtually twice what we used to pay a few years ago. The 6-liter engines are a little bit different. The price has gone way up. What hasn't gone up? Milk, meat, gas, but the price of the 6 liters has gone up, but it's in a little bit better position than the 5.3 because GM did make that engine right up through 2020. And we purchased as many new ones as we could, but the reality is the LTs started to come in. So before we talk about the LT, let's just wrap up on the LS. The 5.3s and the 6.2 truck engines are going to be difficult to get. Now, if you want to pay the price, you're going to get it, but you're going to get higher mileage engines. We can't offer the low mileage engines in the budget builds like we used to. The LS3 is still available new. It's between $7,000 and $8,000, probably closer to $8,000. The availability on the LS3 has been kind of sketchy. A couple of years ago, no problem. Most dealers stocked them. Now, they're almost like a special order item. You'll see that Jegs and Summit and others are constantly out of stock. They had a problem with crankshaft production. And these are the issues you're going to run into when the engine is not in production for current vehicles. In addition, the LS3 has kind of changed a little bit. The engine's basically the same, but they're putting that muscle car oil pan on it now. They're not including exhaust manifolds. They're not including a flex plate. I think the last one we got didn't even have plugs and wires. So we're paying more money for an engine that's coming with less, and the availability is getting more difficult. So understand that when you call in and say, hey, you know, a couple of years ago you gave me a quote for an LS 5.3 swap and it was well under 20,000, that's just not the reality anymore. Everything has gone up and up. Now the LTs are in a different position. The LTs fortunately are in current production and they're awesome engines. The challenge with the LT engines is just keeping up with the technology as far as the tuning goes. They're awesome engines. Motec started doing swaps on LT engines back in 2016. And some shops are even trying to dumb down the LT engines like remove the direct injection and the CVVT so they can support them in their configuration. We take full advantage of the GM harnesses, GM operating systems, GM high gear transmissions, all the technology GM wanted to build into these powertrain packages. So the LED3 has really surprised me. It's a very powerful engine. It's an available engine. It's lower cost. In fact, the cost of an LED3 right now, new, is less than a 6-liter, if you could even find a 6-liter. And in my opinion, the LED3, set up properly with a high gear transmission, will outperform the 6-liter. So there's no loss there. You can step up to that LED3 8-speed or 10-speed, outperform the LS engines, and at a good cost. The LT1, of course, is readily available. It's the Corvette and Camaro engine. No problem getting those with an 8 and a 10-speed. Awesome, awesome powertrains, probably my favorite. Just driving these things up to Utah is fun. It doesn't matter if there's snow or rain or headwinds or anything else. Just a light touch on the throttle keeps these JKs rolling at 80 miles an hour. I just remember the misery of driving the V6s, especially the 3.8, under the same conditions. And it's gone from misery to fun with an LT1. You just can't beat that combination right now, in my opinion. You say, what is the cost of an LT1? Well, we'll cover that just a little bit later. Let me cover a couple of the other LT engines. So the LED3 and the LT1 are our mainstay right now on the LT engines, and they are awesome engines. There is the LED4 and the LED7, which are the newer versions of the LED3 and the LED6. The LED6 is basically the truck version of the LT1. It's got a different intake, it's got a vacuum pump for the brakes, but they perform very similar. We shy away from using the LED6 now for several reasons. In the early days, that was our most popular LT engine because it was available and it was a lower cost than the LT1. If you went to a wrecking yard and tried to buy an LT1 out of a Camaro, they thought it was gold. So we'd get the LED6s and they were phenomenal. Well, over the last several years, the price of the LT1 has gone down and down and down, and the price of the used LED6 has gone up and up and up. So now there's not really that much of a difference between a new LT1 and a used LED6, so it's a no-brainer. Just go with the LT1. Now, a lot of you guys will call me and say, hey, I got a smoking deal on an LED6, you know, it's $3,000, my friend knows somebody, whatever. Just be careful with that. We've seen a lot of guys get burned with low mileage engines that were submerged in water, or they look clean but it's got a rod knock or whatever. So just be careful. Try to get the engine from a reliable source that will give you a warranty. So we like the LED6, just economically it doesn't make as much sense today. Now, I said the LED3 and the LED6 have evolved into the LED4 and the LED7. They added dynamic fuel management, which is a 2 to 8 cylinder multiple displacement system. So that basically means you can be a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cylinder. And I thought I would be disappointed with DFM, but I'm not. The LED7 that Motec built runs phenomenal. And the DFM in many ways is preferable to AFM. In fact, in almost every way, because it's not as abrupt. When you went from an 8 to a 4 or a 4 to 8 with AFM, even though the transmission was quite smooth, it was more abrupt. With the DFM, it's less noticeable, and it doesn't really bother me. The problem with the LED4 and the LED7 is they run the later 19 or the 2020 operating systems with the T93 controller, which GM has really locked down. Now, a lot of you don't know this, but manufacturers are making a lot of effort to lock down their production tunes. Now, if you go to GM Performance or over-the-counter, they're not as locked down because they're not subject to emissions. But the feds have cracked down on manufacturers because they know that consumers are tuning these vehicles. They're getting a Hypertech or a Super Chip or a Bully Dog or whatever, and they're tweaking their tunes, especially on the diesels, which is violating the emissions laws. So the government has put a lot of pressure on manufacturers, and in some cases I've heard of actually assisted manufacturers in locking down their bootloaders. So that's what's going on with the 2020 T93. I'm not sure anybody has cracked it. We've got T93s on the road and they run great, but we can't program them. Now, like everything else, there is some solutions to that problem, and we're going to be showing you that here in the near future. So we can support the LED4 and the LED7 as required. Now, there is one more LT engine I want to talk about, and that is the, well, there's actually two. Let me get this out of the way. A lot of guys want to do the LTV6, and we don't support that right now. I don't think we're going to. I don't know that there's a big enough of a performance advantage to the V6 LT rather than just going to a 5.3, because the 5.3 is a phenomenal engine, very powerful. And if you can go through all that effort, why are you going to put a V6 in? So we're not going to support that now. The L8T 6.6 liter engine You guys have heard a lot about it. A lot of you guys want it. Well, it's subject to some of the same restrictions as the LD4 and the LD7. So that's going to go right along with those two engines. How much of an advantage is there going to be? I don't know, but here's kind of my take. Right now, the LT1 and the LD3 are such good bargains, and they run so good. There is no downside to these engines. They get good economy. They have excellent drivability. They outperform pretty much all their peers from the prior generations, including the Hemis and the LSs. So what I'm saying is those are very viable engines, and it's going to be hard to dethrone them. Now, the 6.6 liter has one advantage, and that's displacement. And displacement, as we all know, is torque. There's no replacement for displacement. So for a really heavy JK, or if you're towing, it might be the option you want to go with. We're going to do a couple of LAT builds, and we'll let you know. You guys have heard about that LT6, double overhead cam, over 600 horsepower, 5-point-something liter, normally aspirated engine. That is a pure high-performance engine, like something you would build for the track. I might want to do one of those just for fun. I don't think it's the ultimate engine in a heavy JK, but it's a great engine. So we're going to talk about the pricing now, because we've held on as long as we can. But what's going on in Washington and the rest of the country right now, with shipping costs going up, production costs going up, labor costs going up, just everything is going up. We have to raise our prices just like everybody else. Now, our price increases are fairly reasonable. They're just following the economy. The LS 5.3s, we used to be able to offer in the mid-teens, 14, 15, 16 for a budget build. Well, those days are gone. Like I said, the 5.3 engine has pretty much doubled in price. And, oh, the 6L80, I got to talk about that. That's also gone up dramatically. I would say at least doubled in price. GM does offer them as remanufactured, but they're, with a core, they're over $4,000. So keep that in mind. So the LS 5.3 is still available, but you're pushing just about $20,000. And let me mention this before we get into the pricing. All of our kits now are premium kits. You are getting the Motec battery tray unless you have dual batteries. You are getting the heavy-duty all-aluminum quad-header radiator. You're getting the Camaro SS fan upgrade. On the LT engines, you're getting rail coolers. You're getting the Motec valance. You're getting an Aeroforce gauge or a Banks gauge. We're throwing everything in. Why? Because you need it. A lot of guys that would do the budget build, yeah, they were happy, but eventually they wanted to get a scan gauge, and eventually it would get hot. They would want the cooling system. So all of our bills now are including that. We're not going to nickel and dime you. We're not going to say, hey, the bill's 15 grand and charge you 25 grand out the door. We're not going to do that. So the LS 5.3 is running just about 20 grand, or just a little bit over, with all the whistles and bells. The one option that's not included in this is the drive shaft. A lot of guys have heavy-duty drive shafts, and we resize them. Adams Driveline is right here in town. We send the drive shafts out to them, and they resize them for us, and that usually runs anywhere from $200 to $400. So the LS 5.3, you're pushing about 20 grand. The LS 6.0, just a little bit more than that, and these are for used engines. We can't get new engines anymore. Consider that these engines can get 250 to 300,000 miles. That original white 2008 JK we did back in 2009 has almost 250,000 miles on it right now, and the original 5.3 is running like a champ, not burning any oil. It's got well over 200,000 miles on it. So consider this is not a V6 that you're going to get 100,000 miles out of. Now, I can't tell you exactly what mileage you're going to get in your engine, but instead of 10, 20, 30, it's going to be 30, 40, 50, maybe even 60,000 miles, because that's what's available. You're saving money, and that's what you get. We don't really like to do the LS truck engines anymore, and the main reason is the LS3 is still available, and the truck engines have gone up so much in price in the wrecking yards. It's unfortunate that just a couple of years ago we were picking up those new crate truck engines like the L94s for $2,000 less than a new LS3, but that's just not the case anymore. The supply has dried up. If you want a truck engine, you're going to be talking the mid-20s, and I want to say it's a new crate engine, but it's really not. We do build it new from GM parts, so we get a long block from GM, and then we purchase everything else, the intake and the injectors and the rails and all that. We do that for the California builds, for the guys that need the executive order, and the L94 is on our executive order. And that California executive order build is going to run in the high 20s, but it's going to get your foot in the door in California. So let's talk about the LS3. The LS3 are new crate engines. Normally we make them with used transmission. If you want to go with a used transmission, you're talking the mid-20s, 25, 26, maybe 27 with some options like drive shafts. If you want to go with the GM remanufactured transmission, add $2,000 to that. So you're still under 30 grand. And I think if you look around right now, you will find that this is a heck of a bargain and a great value, because you're getting an all GM powertrain that you can program. There is no patching, hacking. There's no trying to integrate it into another operating system, another manufacturer's operating system. It's just a pure powertrain that is seamlessly integrated into the JK. Looking at the LTs, things are looking bright. The 5.3 LT is going to be in the low to mid 20s. That's for a new engine and a new transmission. We're not cutting any corners. All the options: heavy duty cooling, valance, radiator, all that stuff. Now realistically, with drive shafts, and most guys want a little bit of suspension work or this or that, you're going to be in the mid 20s, 25, 26. And it's a phenomenal combination, because you probably don't need an LT1. It's probably too much power for you. It's probably more power than you need. Take a good hard look at the LT 5.3. The LT1, just about 30 grand. You're probably going to end up spending 31 grand with a few options, but you get all the whistles and bells. You get the heavy duty cooling, you get the battery tray, you get the rail coolers for the engine oil. As far as drivability, performance, economy as a whole, in my opinion, there is no better combination. The LT3 is fantastic, but of course it doesn't have the power of the LT1. It has enough power for a JK, but when you put it all together, the LT1 is king of the hill. Yeah, you got the LT4, the LT5, you got the Hellcat and all that stuff, but as an all-around package, if you wanted to drive your JK every day as a daily driver, you want the performance on the highway, you want your wife to drive it to the store with mild drivability, I don't think you're going to beat the LT1. I love these engines. Just getting into a JK with an LT1 high gear transmission makes me happy. And you know, we got Hemis at the shop, we got LSs at the shop, we got all sorts of other stuff at the shop, and they all perform well. But the LT1 is just one step above that. I'm not going to get into the LT4 and the LT5 right now. I wanted to give you an idea of our new pricing, because we have to follow this economy. We don't know where it's going to go. Hopefully things will get better in 2022, but everything from the cost of steel, which is more than doubled for us, to the GM parts, Chrysler parts have really gone crazy. I used to buy shifter assemblies for a manual to auto conversions for $125 to $150. That same shifter today is over $400. Clock springs, $400. They used to be $180. So we have to pass this on to you. And if you look at what else is out there, I think you'll agree that these are still high-value engines. So we're going to take this early JK LT1 high-geared transmission up to the mountain, and we're going to be back soon.